Paolo?
Francesco.
From Italy.
Oh, you're from Italy.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, first of all, thank you so much for your precious time. So we're asking like about what foreigners understand, how foreigners understand Japan, about our social problems. So do you know any like social problems that Japan is facing? Any kind?
Any kind.
Social problems? Not
No.
really,
Not
I don't
really.
think. Or at least from our perspective, from when we came here in Japan, we do not really notice any problem. We notice mainly some differences with respect to our country, but we do not really notice any social problems.
Okay.
So what we call something like okimori, kikomori.
Okikomori?
No, something like that. People are keeping themselves in house.
People,
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
about
that's
that?
the only thing I ever heard in Italy.
By the
Just
way-
because there is, let's say, a similar problem that is growing in Italy.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, maybe in a different way, but is we are noticing something. Yeah. So
Like-
we are trying to compare the two things and trying to understand what's going on.
By the way, you mentioned about hikikomori. How do you know about that kind of problem?
Well, I know nothing.
Mhm.
I have heard about that just because in Italy something is growing, topic something like that, and talking about that, sometimes this Japanese name is mentioned just to say that something similar is happening somewhere else in the world.
Okay.
That is not coming from the same culture,
Okay.
Western culture, but also from another side of different culture.
Hikikomori is kind of understood something really negative.
Yeah, yes.
Is that
yes,
same?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, absolutely the same.
Thank you. Well, one more social problem. Well, I mean, of course, Japan has like several problems, but one big topic is our birth rate in Japan. Birth rate.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So our birth rate per one female person in Japan is about 1.3. So less than 2. And you know, Japan has a big population, but it's decreasing, and people are getting older. So is there like similar problems?
Definitely.
Definitely.
Okay.
I think it's less our birth rate in Italy. Yes, it's a
Okay.
big problem in Italy.
And
Found the same, the two perfect person, because he is from a mentality, I am from the opposite mentality.
Oh,
Because
really?
I am younger and he is older,
A
obviously.
little bit true.
well, about birth rate. There's another perspective we could think is that the virginity rate in Japan. So the virginity rate for male under 34 is about 44%. Male people like age of under 34, 44%, about 44% are virgin, and for the woman is 49%. So is that something similar back in your country?
No, I don't know. I have
From my
no idea.
perspective, from my perspective, I notice more or less. I don't really know the percentage, but I notice more or less the same problem, because not from my personal point of view, but I think it's also from a generational point of view. Is like the right word, and
Generation,
maybe my generation does not really feel this kind of problem, or at least did not really face it. But the generation of now, so for example, people born in 2005, 2006, more is, let's say, it's more a problem that they are facing.
Can I ask you why that kind of problems like happening back in your country?
I think it could be also, I do not really know about the problem that you two were talking about before. So the other kind of problem that we are also facing in Italy, but maybe it could be something linked to this.
Okay.
Because people are more likely to stay home, to not really face the world outside, and they prefer to see the world from a perspective, from a television perspective, from a computer perspective, and this also decrease the social aspects of the world. So, for example, it's more or less likely that you're going to talk with other people in real face, but you are going to talk about it on Discord or on software like it.
They try to, at least in Italy, I don't know here, but they are trying to say that the reason is because of the social, is the work, is not, the people is working too much or thinking. You are now also the male and the female, they are both working, so they have no time for growth the family, and so I don't think that is the problem.
Uh-huh.
I think is a cultural problem. I think the new generations are weaker. They are a little bit more scared to leave and spend their, let's say, their themselves in living the life.
I think that's the same identical feeling, same identical idea, because it's the same thing. I think that I noticed that people, they are scared of facing life, so they prefer to like close inside their box, close inside their how I can say safe space somehow, and this is a problem that impacts everything. So also those kind of problems that you were mentioning before, but I think also other kind of problems.
Probably, as you said, the two things are linked. Is a different way of showing the same problem.
Understand.
This is my opinion.
Few more questions. Well, in Japan, we have this kind of image to Italy that people are really socialized. They're really, have a really great smile, like active. It's kind of you two are like son and father, right?
We're colleagues.
Oh, sorry. I thought you two are like son and.
Well, the age is like that. He can be my son.
Okay.
Yeah, can be.
So,
I'm 62. Is 20.
25.
25.
So.
Okay.
But there is no relation between ourselves.
Well, in Japan, it's kind of awkward to talk to, with your parents or family about, your sexual life. Is it also kind of awkward back in your country?
That's a really good question. Would you like to answer? Or
well, yes and no. It's very much dependent on the families. I think is a standard. How do you say awkwardness? That is probably
ask your child about those kind of questions and kind of understand their current situation. No, not. Maybe I can make a question, but if that there is the say, if just talking to each other, there is say, how do you say, naturally will come the question. Otherwise, I will not query. Okay.
Not directly, not to, let's say, to know because I'm curious or because I think I need to ask this question and why should I interfere with their life?
Do you feel comfortable if you get asked by your parents?
For my point of view, there's no kind of problem of this type, but my personal point of view, in terms that I always said everything to my father. I'm no kind of problem in confront about these aspects, but all the aspects of my life. So also study, also work, also private life. Never had this kind of problem, but my friends of the same age, they all have problems. So it's something that I think what Paolo said is totally correct. I think it's a question of family. So in family, or at least in Italy, it's the family in which you are born. So inside of it kind of change everything, because maybe father, you can see the father as a figure of where you have a lot of respect, and maybe this kind of question could be awkward from your point of view, at least if you are the younger one, so if you are the son or daughter. But it depends on the family, because for example, my father never had any kind of problem not asking me some kind of topics of this. Yes, obviously at the beginning there was a little bit of awkwardness, as he said, but obviously after you build a kind of a relation of this type where there isn't any kind of problem between the child and the father, and it changed things. Obviously father, but also mother, because of the same things, obviously, because I talked to my mother also about my private life without any kind of problem.
I understand. So it's really based on family, not about
in our perspective.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. It was great.
Welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.